Greetings. My name is Ras Pharaoh Mahat Kiru Shabaka, and I'm going to weigh in on the controversy that was started when Sarah Sutton Seti, made videos, a series of videos about the Moors. And there were a couple of responses, or several responses by various Moors. One of the best of them, I think, from a brother called God Intelligence, and he seems to be a pretty intelligent brother, and he's been making various responses to Sarah Sutton Seti, and also just giving out information on the Moors and Moors history and culture. So basically, after I saw the video with Sarah Sutton Seti, I went on YouTube and started doing some, watching more videos, by different people, some of the responses by the various Moors, and that just kind of got me curious as to, who were the Moors, because I've seen Moors before. I mean, I've seen them around, but I never really paid too much attention to them. But some of the things that they say, seems kind of controversial, and brother Sarah Sutton Seti's video was somewhat controversial, and it seemed to be some kind of tension between Moors and Africans. As a matter of fact, when I saw brother God Intelligence video, there seems to be some type of negative connotation that these brothers or these Moors have towards Africa, Africans, black, and so forth and so on. As a matter of fact, brother God Intelligence said that he wasn't black, that he was, his color was, what do you call it, olive. He was olive colored. So, I mean, as far as I know, olive is green, so I don't know how that works out. And I know they had a black olive. Maybe he was talking about a black olive, though, but I don't think so. But anyway, all of this controversy kind of got me interested in doing some research. I decided, let me do some research on these Moors and see exactly who are the Moors, where did they come from, and basically what is the origin and the evolution of the Moorish philosophy, culture, religion, and so forth and so on. So I started doing a little research. Because I mean, it seems to me that the Moors, they basically say they're not African, they're not black, but yet still they want to take credit for a lot of the contribution that Africans made to the world. I mean, they take credit. Even Baba God Intelligence said that the Moors taught the Egyptians masonry and this type of thing. Which is didn't really make much sense to me. So I decided, let me do some research on the Moors. Who are the Moors? Where they come from? Okay, the first thing is that the Moors do go much further back than the so-called Islamic period. I mean, the Moors didn't come into existence with Islam. They've been around way before Islam. That's number one. They've been around for a long time. They go back thousands of years, and they've been around since Egypt. Actually, well, not since the beginning of Egypt, but they've been around. There are historical records of them, by the Egyptians. I mean, were the Egyptians Moors? No. Did the Egyptians know about the Moors? Yes, they knew the Moors. Okay, the Egyptians knew all about the Moors. Basically, if you want to go back to where the Moors actually come from, we have to go back to around, say, the 18th dynasty in Egypt, which is around 1400 BC, around there somewhere. So, the Moors were in Carthage during Hannibal's time. They've been around, all over the world, basically in various theaters. They have done various fought in a lot of wars. I mean, the Moors are pretty they have a pretty extensive history. Let's just say that. Okay. Now let's start with Egypt. Now, the Egyptians knew the Moors as the Mu or the Ma. That's what the Egyptians call them. They call them the Ma, which was short, which is an abbreviation for Meshwesh, which I guess would be like Moorish, Meshwesh. That's what the Egyptians used to call them, and for short they'd call them Mu or Ma. Okay, and these Meshwesh or Moors were they basically resided west of the Nile Valley in North Africa, in what we call today the Maghreb. Okay, and that would be Morocco, Algeria, Tunisia, Mauritania, some parts of the Sahara, and some parts of Niger, in that area. Okay, they basically the Meshwesh or the Moors basically were of that area. Okay, so at one time all of that area was considered Mauritania or even Morocco, at various times depending on what what was going on. So basically it was as a matter of fact the ancient Egyptians used to call that part of the world Libu, which is now known as Libya today. But I mean, when I say Libya, I mean not just Libya as we know it today, but Libya would incorporate all of North Africa, Tunisia, Algeria, Morocco, and all of the areas known as, and they call these people the Libu or the Meshwesh. Basically, it was a conglomeration of various tribes. The Meshwesh was various tribes who basically controlled that area, lived in that area. The Egyptians also knew them as part of as the Moabites. The Egyptians call them Mu'ab, and they knew them as part of the they knew them as the Moabites, which is a part of the Meshwesh conglomeration of tribes. So what you had was a various conglomeration of tribes in that part of the world, North Africa, Morocco, Tunisia, Algeria, and West Africa, west of Egypt, west of the Nile Valley, in North Africa. Okay, that part of North Africa. So this is where the Moors basically originated from. Okay, which is why they're so concerned with being Moors of Morocco, because basically that's their root, that's their ancestry. Okay, now the demographic of the Moors are basically, and it's always been that way actually, are basically from dark, very dark to very light. Okay, as a matter of fact, in Egypt, the Egyptians have pictures of the Moors, and they show you them as some, basically like light-skinned Africans. Okay, what we would call today, what some people would call, it's not a politically correct term, but I guess the best word to describe it would be mulatto, which again the root of that word is Moor. So these are mulattoes and various other Africans. Remember, this is North Africa, so you have light Africans from dark Africans. These Moors is also what we call. They were in ancient time. They were called the so-called part of the so-called Berber, or the Imagazin people. They became to be known that later on, but the roots of these Berbers are from these Moors back in ancient times, or these Meshwesh, Moorish tribes. Now, during that time, around around 1300 BC,